Hey y'all, welcome to Maverick Gunworks channel. Today I'm going to do something that's we don't see a whole lot of in this shop at least. This is a take apart and clean it Browning BPR-22 Magnum. The Browning 22 pump action rifle. Really sweet little gun. 22 Magnum caliber. And I've been tasked with taking this apart, cleaning it, and we'll get her going again. But this is a neat little gun. It's got some, if we maybe zoom in with the camera a little bit, I'm going to show you the scrolling around the receiver here. Got a little rabbit engraving on it there. And on the other side, we've got there's a squirrel engraving on it. Really nice, high polished wood on it. Anyway, but it's never been taken apart and cleaned. And we're going to take it apart here and see what we can come up with, alright? So to start with, we're going to take off the forend and make sure you get a good hollow ground screwdriver bit that fits the slot like it should. Don't want to have any slippage, any damage on that piece of artwork there. All right, artwork as it is, because this Browning is pretty much a piece of artwork as far as I'm concerned. And to get the rest of it apart, we're going to take just one screw that takes it down right here on the side. And that screw, just so you know, is not flat in the bottom of the blade where the screwdriver blade fits. There's a slight arc in it, a radius. So we have a special blade here that is made just for screws like that. It fits very snugly in there, so it will not slip, will not cause any kind of damage to the screw head, and fits really, really nicely. Because I've tried other just regular flat bladed bits, and they all rock a little bit and wiggle around. Much better to have one that fits perfectly too, so there's no damage caused there. Alright, we've got that apart. You can see now that on the receiver, the way this thing is made, you've got a couple pins on the front, and the receiver slides up over that. The whole stock, I believe, will going to come off that way. So we're going to slip it backwards a little bit, and let's see how that works. Alright, there we go. Alright, and be real cautious when you slip this cover off, because there's going to be parts fall out of it. Alright, because some things are just kind of held in by the receiver cover. Alright, so there's your receiver. It's off the gun now. Lay that aside. We'll clean all this up as we go. And as I pick up the receiver of the gun now, you can see that our linkage, transfer bar, whatever you want to call it, our action bar from the pump to the bolt, it fell out. Alright, and we'll show you how that goes back in. It fits on the bolt. This tab back here goes back onto the bolt, and the front pin goes back into your pump action up here. All right. And then as I roll it over, by golly, more stuff fell out of it. All right, these parts fell out. They're held in again with the cover holding everything together. This is going to be your ejector. Right, that is the ejector. It rides right down. It fits into a slot on the receiver there. Fits into that groove. And as the bolt comes back, when you're operating it, the bolt slides backwards, hits the edge of your ejector right there, and causes the cartridge to kick out. All right. Anyway, that comes out, and then also this little tab. This is your bolt release. Okay, so it fits again on a little tab. You've got a pin right here on the receiver that will fit right back down in there. And what that does is releases the bolt, so you can push up and releases the bolt latch, so you can pump it without having to fire the gun. All right. So anyway, we'll put all that back in it, but right now that's all going to come out. We're going to clean it up anyway. And then to get it's got a little crud on it here. It looks like it's not been cleaned in forever probably. But anyway, it's still in really good condition. Now we're going to take the bolt out. We're going to push the bolt latch down. Right, I'm going to pull the bolt out, but to do that, okay, we've got to get our firing pin loose first. Okay, so to get that bolt out, I'm going to have to release our firing pin right here. Let's use a little pick. I'm going to drop my firing pin down. Let that go. All right, that releases. Now we can pull our firing pin and spring out of the back of the receiver, and there is there's the, what do you call it? I forget what you call it now, daggone it. Anyway, this is the hammer that hits the back of your firing pin and makes it, strike the cartridge. So anyway, there you go. That's as far as I'm going to take it apart for right now. We'll put these parts into an ultrasonic tank and clean them up good, and then we'll pull our magazine tube out. Rotate that. We're going to pull our mag tube out and get it. Actually, it has a latch. I'm going to back up here. The magazine tube, to pull it out, it has a little spring-loaded tab. There's a latch. Push that down, and you can pull your magazine inner tube out of it, and then we'll be able to access everything that we're going to normally going to take apart and clean. All right. So there we go. That's as far as I'm going to go with it. We're going to clean this up, get it lubed, and then we'll put it back together in a few minutes. All right. So hang on. It's going to be a little bit to take this do the cleaning process, but we'll get back to you in a little bit. Folks, we're back here after we've cleaned up this Browning pump rifle. I'm going to put it back together now. I just want to show you some of the details of putting it back together. And actually what I did too, I took all the small parts, put them in the ultrasonic tank, and ended up taking the receiver too. I actually stuck the whole receiver down in the tank and held it there for a few minutes while it was doing its job. And took it out and got it all cleaned up now, lubricated, cleaned out the barrel, the typical stuff. But what you're more interested in probably is going to see how it goes back together, because it's been a little different than most firearms that you would normally play with or take apart or whatever. But this Browning pump rifle is first time I've seen one of these actually. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes back together. But anyways, we have our striker here. We're going to put our spring back in it for the firing pin striker. That goes back into the back of the bolt. And our firing pin striker spring, I believe is what it would be called, goes back into the back of the receiver. There's a little hole back in the back of the receiver that pin sticks into. Just put that in. We'll have to pull this latch down. Put our block back, our bolt back rather, and push the bolt all the way to the back. You hear click, and now what that's done is cocked our the firing pin striker. It's cocked back here on the sear now, so that should be good to go. But stay back there. And now I've got to get my bolt get it lined up where it goes back in position. Okay. Now we've got the bolt back where it goes, and it's kind of need kind of 4 hands here to put this stuff back together. Because I figured out when you take this cover off, stuff just falls out of it. Right? So I'm gonna do the best I can to hold it together while we're reassembling here. So now we have our ejector. It will go back into the slot on the back edge of the receiver, and also fit into the slot, the middle slot on your bolt. Here's our release button. That hole there fits actually back on the pin where it rotates. Cock it forward just a little bit, get it in front of your latch. Okay, so now that's good. And on the other side, if I can hold this down while we're putting our transfer bar, that's what I'm going to call it. Anyway, it's the bar that goes from your pump handle to the bolt. All right, you got a pin on one end of it, fits into your slide. Other end fits into the notch on the bolt right there. And hopefully I can hold all this together. Sit down just like that and slide our cover back on it. Now I've lubricated everything. I've been inside the housing also, the cover housing here. Cleaned it up really good, put a little lube on the inside of it. and should be good to go once we get it back together. All right, hang on. Well, just right there, how easy that is to fall out. The action bar fell off. Hold it all back together. We want to slide our cover on. Should be slide on just like that. Slide it down, push it forward. You can see the pins right here in the front where that fits into the notch. You can't go wrong. It's got to fit only one way. And once it's in, everything stays in place. All right. So now we can put our takedown screw, frame screw, whatever you want to call it, get it back in the spot. I can tell you, I figured out this is a really precise firearm, as is typical with Browning. If it's not just right, it don't want to quite fit. So push that good and tight. Okay. I think what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to pop the back of the frame a little bit with a rubber hammer here, just to get that screw alignment where it fits back in the slot. Okay, one more tap. And there it goes. All right. Really snug fit on this Browning stuff. And again, I've got to use the right screwdriver bit made to fit these screws, because it is a concave slot, I guess is what you would call it. That's good and snug right there. All right, now we can replace our fore end, and it fits right back on there just like so. Oh, and line up the hole for our fore end screw. Get it started. All right. I'm going to switch over to a different size bit that fits that screw like it should. Snug that one. That worked out good. So my screw slot is in line lengthwise with the forearm. That's where it should line up anyway when it's finished. All right. And now we can push our release latch. Again, cocks back, just like it should. I'm not going to dry fire this because it is a rim fire, so we'll put a black cartridge in and try that in a minute. And then we'll slide back our inner magazine tube, slide it back in place. All right, and again it snaps into place. All right, and this being a 22 Magnum, I don't think I have 22 Magnum dummy rounds, but I'm going to put a 22 long rifle dummy round in it and dry fire it, make sure it kicks it out, and we'll be good to go. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. So hopefully that helps somebody out. If you have or have seen a gun like this and you want to take it apart and clean it, that'll give you some tips on how to do it right. Okay? Well, thanks for watching, guys. And if you have a gun like this, send us a comment. Let me know. Maybe there are more of them in the country. This is the first one I've seen around here anyway. Okay, y'all, I've got a couple rounds of 22 Magnum in here, and we're going to do a little function check on this, make sure it does what it's supposed to do. So I've got my safety is working, it does not fire. Take our safety off. All right, beautiful. Man, that's a sweet shooting little gun. If you got one of these, let me know, because that's a rare bird right there. You don't see them very often. Anyways, there you have it. Got it working again, and she's slicked up. Thanks for watching.